Hey, thanks for joining us for this special NAB preview of CloudFlex. I'm Michael Lang, and Jonas and I are very excited to share this with you today. Hey, Jonas, how you doing?
I am doing good. The feeling when you've worked on something for weeks, months, and probably have thought about it for years, and now it's finally time to show it to people. So yeah, excited to get this thing started.
I've been living, sleeping, breathing cloud production, it feels like, for the last 5 years. And having this, I'm really excited for this product, honestly. I want to get right into the demo. But before we jump into that, I want to share with you the story of how we got here. Um, Over the past 5 years, we've been running cloud productions and designing workflows for our clients in the public cloud, and met others along the way doing the same thing, like Jonas. So that led to some great collaborations with the team at BSCMP, which Jonas is a part of. And we've worked closely on many large projects over the years, and it's been a lot of fun. From live shopping streams 5 days a week from the cloud for a client that sells everything from A to Z. We operated that with a team of almost 10 directors across the country, could run their shows from anywhere. We built a master control, distribution, and commercial marker insertion system for a worldwide sporting event that streamed to millions on YouTube. And one of my favorite projects is taking an independent media company, moving their control room from streaming software in somebody's home office to an easily accessible cloud control room that could be operated from anywhere by anyone. So they had that rock solid reliability that comes with the cloud. And Jonas has done some similar projects, just like I've described.
Yeah, like one of my favorite all-time project was when we did social activation to Twitch, where we took a feed from our influencers and we moved around the world. We did, I think it was like 7 live streams, and every single time it was from a different location. We had a team over in the UK that helped us. We had producers in Australia, everywhere. It was really great to work on that. And at the same time, for us as a company, like Cloud has allowed us to the one week do 500 Zoom meetings at once, and then the next week do smaller single Zoom room webinars, and be able to scale with that flexibility without the overhead that you would normally need to do a large event like that.
And what I love about projects like that is when you take something from, hey, can this be done? We need to do this, but we don't have a control room. We can't do it this way. And you make it happen for the client. And then they realize, wait a minute, we can do this like this.
Yeah.
And all the projects that follow, it's fun to build. It's fun to build those things and show people exactly what can be done in the cloud, like today. But in the early days, a few years ago, seems like early days now, many of these tools didn't exist, especially tools like CloudFlex. Jonas and I had to fight with AWS permissions, tweak countless configuration files, testing software encoders that we weren't even sure if we're going to work in the cloud. Sharing, and then all the other things that come with getting your team on board, sharing passwords, sharing IP addresses, juggling VPN access, all of those things that make cloud production a lot harder than just getting a bunch of people in a room with computers that are already set up. We wanted to fix those problems. And that's where Jonas and I actually ended up building the same solution over the course of a year. Not CloudFlex, but let's call it the predecessor to that. And when we got together after a year of really not talking very much because we were working on independent projects, but when we came together to compare notes, we realized we've pretty much built the same solution to solve the same problems.
And that is a reoccurring thing within, like, Lang and I, we started in very different points of the spectrum. Like we did more event work, single type, and you, Mike, started with like this daily show already. But like after 3 years, when somehow we finally stopped avoiding each other, it's kind of funny that like we could do cloud production that long without knowing of each other. And we compared notes. We were like, wait, like we kind of arrived at similar solutions. So that is really also what
Right.
we bring into CloudFlex is like we have been doing this for a long time, and surprisingly, we are really close in what we do, how we think about things, what solutions we ended up with. So
Right.
yeah, that has been really a fun experience.
That was my aha moment too when we came together. Like, wait a minute, there's something here. We see the same problems. That must mean something, and solving that just made everything so much simpler. Like, I could just share a link with a client, with an operator, to get access to the cloud system, to get them on board. And it was, you'd literally share the link, and you wouldn't hear from them again until the event was over. And that's great, because that means everything worked. They did what they needed to do, and the event went off without a hitch. So that brings us to today, to CloudFlex. It's the tool that we wish we had from the start. The dream of being able to start up your control room with the push of a button. That's what we aim to make CloudFlex do. And that's what it can do. Give your operators access with an email invite. All of those simple things we wrapped up into one tool to make cloud production a whole lot easier.
Lane, do you remember when we first started working, and I call it the permission stance, where like you always had to go back and forth of like, hey, can you try to do this part of the workflow now? And then you're like, I need this more permission and one more. And then it's like, it feels like you,
Yes.
at the start, you either fall into the like, I give you all the permissions, or I just give you a certain permission.
Yeah, I fell into the trap of just giving everyone full access at the beginning, which was a cringe just saying that out loud, but it happened just to be, it was the easiest way. Now that, now that I've been working in the cloud, and AWS in particular, for a lot longer, I know which permissions to give.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are going to be at that point where they're just starting to get into cloud production. They want to do this. You don't want to wrangle permissions. It's the last thing you want. And you don't want to expose your account and give away those permissions to just anybody. It's not a good thing. So CloudFlex lets you do this correctly. So why don't we take a look at the interface and see exactly how it makes our job easier.
So here, this is the dashboard, and this is what you would see, especially if you are an administrator. One of the key features that is ingrained into CloudFlex is control over what people see, and like being able to separate resources and attach them to different things.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the interface, and what we'll get started with is the instance manager. For those of you who have worked in AWS, this will probably look very similar. And some of you might now start screaming, wait, you're exposing your public IP addresses. Everyone can now log into your nice DCV instances. And you see this little button back here. And what we have done is, not only have we made it easier to do cloud production and give someone access to like stop your instances, but also we made the access way more secure and easier to do. So for example, if I have vMix 1 here that I want to look at, I can just hit a button. It warns me about a cert, because this is still my environment. And now it's going to just, within another tab, connect me to that specific instance. It's going to take a second, and now I'm in. Now I'm in my cloud instance. I can do whatever I want. I can start vMix. This is now just your normal production. I know a lot of people also love their DCV access directly. So for example, if you switch the switch up here to DCV, and then you hit let's take this one. You hit the button again. What has happened, we will open up the DCV client that is installed on your system natively. You accept the certificate. And of course, I'm already in that too many times. So this is the other thing. These instances are deployed from 5 years of knowledge. And we know there's a lot of issues when you just get started and you allow too many people in, or you don't allow enough people in. So this is now our simple podcast environment. This is a simple vMix instance, pulls in two sources over Zoom. And now you're just in vMix. Now I can cut here, I can do some merge transitions, all of that just there in the interface. If I would need to give access to someone, all I have to do is share that access within CloudFlex. You also see that there's assignment to studios. What I'm going to show you, if we go to organization, all I have to do to invite someone is you just say invite whatever the person's email is. You decide, should they be a member or admin? You invite them, and that's it. Now they send an invite, they can log on. Nothing that we don't charge you per user, so you can add your team, no need to password share. This is where you then create your environments. You can do managed or self-hosted. So if you want us to take care of running the computer in our environment, that is perfect. We have a bunch of regions here, and I can add all of them more there. That is very simple for us to do. But you can also do self-hosted. So at that point, you can bring your own access key ID and access key secret to AWS. And that way you can use your own compute while still having this really great management overlay. So all your members.
I should mention too, those access keys don't require the full access that we talked about earlier. It's a very limited set of permissions.
Yeah, we have a very limited set of permissions that you really need just to make sure that, what you need. The next thing is, if you're then in your environment, one of the things that was really important to me is I managed a lot of AWS accounts. So what I keep running into is, I call it my commute of remote work or cloud production, is like signing out of all of the accounts and signing into the other one. Like that just is annoying. And like we all probably had a scare where you stop something and suddenly you're like, wait, am I in the right account? Did I just shut the wrong thing down? So one of the things that we have in here is already multi-organization and multi-environment support. Switching environments or organizations is as simple as selecting them up here. And this is where you can create and manage your studio. So we have 3 studios here right now. Studio is just like a logical group where you can put resources in. But then what's really powerful is our permission system. Can select a person. Let's say I want the operator. I want them to have operator access to the instances application. And now I can decide, do they have full access or do they only get specific access that is limited to the ones I check? And then what's also really cool to me is limiting the access by time frame is as simple as select a start and an end date. Or you can also do it the other way around, where like it only starts in a week or it ends in 2 months. You can do whatever you want to do there. Changing permissions is simple as well. That all is full on implemented there.
Right.
And I'll just show this real quick. Here's all the applications where you have all your settings that you want for the applications. What we also have is this concept of feeds. Often we find that you need to share like a multi-view. So this is a low latency WebRTC multi-view of our podcast instance. So you could use CloudFlex just to give someone access to your multi-view and allow a producer to use it that way. And we also support HLAS. So here I can pull the HLAS from that podcast instance. But we also support iframe, so you can embed your YouTube. Whatever you need, you can just do in here. You can also assign those to studios. So then access, once again, is limited. But now, if you say that is all great, but how do I get my sources from the cloud from the ground into the cloud? Or how do I get my feed to YouTube now? That's where in the past you had to like stream thing, like use the inbuilt streamers or like wrangle through setup of FFmpeg, Nimble Streamer, something like that. So what we have is the flow manager. This is where you can manage our flow engine that we deploy in your environment seamlessly by just saying, hey, I need a new flow. This is cam2 SRT. and it's going to create a flow. You can then create SRT, RTMP, NDI, or WebRTC inputs. And then you can output that either as NDI, SRT, RTMP, WebRTC. I think I listed everything.
Yeah, that covers all the majors. Yeah.
And then we also allow you to start those and give a specific thing there. You can search it. And this is once again tied into our permission system. And now, if you're asking yourself, well, that is really cool. So now I can take my program and stream it to 5 YouTube channels. That is great. But now how do we manage ad insertion for all of those? Mm-hmm. One of the things that Mike mentioned earlier is this SCSI insertion tool that we built. So if we go to the ad manager, you can select your podcast program to YouTube, for example, flow here. And now we're ready to insert SCSI markers in there. I can hit start. Now we're on a 30-second break. It will let you know who started it. So like, if you look at it and you're like, this is crazy, what is going on? You at least know who to call, who to talk to. We also keep a log of everything that happened. This is really good for you if you need to like prove to your advertisers that you sent the markers, or for debugging who did what. Of course, we can also decide, hey, here's something really important. I want to end the break early. We have some presets here. Then my favorite feature is you can go in here, enable the companion integration, copy paste that into your companion, and we will have full tutorials for that as well. And then inserting ads across all of the YouTube channels, or even if it's like other CDNs. SCSI is a tool that a lot of CDNs use for their ad insertion. You can just do it with the tip of a button. Yeah, that is some of the overview of what all CLOUDflex can do and what we've built there.
Well, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions about protocols supported, all the tech details. If you've got a question, please drop it in the chat. We're gonna answer a lot of questions once we're done with the demo here. But the ad insertion tool, the ads manager app, is one of my favorites because it's the big red button, and it's a challenging problem to solve that not a lot of products out there solve. And you'll be able to restream to multiple destinations and insert that SCSI metadata in all the streams. If you could do it in an SRT feed and hand that off to a CDN, you could do it in HLS and hand it off directly to YouTube. Those are the two protocols that are supported, that'll be supported right away. But yeah, Ads Manager is really cool.
And one of the things that is also really important to us is if we go back here, you might see all of the solutions you could run in the cloud, right? Like you see your vMix, you see your Carbonite code from ROS, you see your Vizrt Vector. Like we have all of the different flavors of production tools in there, because what we want to make sure is that you have the tools at your fingertips that you want to use and that your operators are comfortable with, because that will end up creating a better show. And
right,
we really are tool agnostic. We are built on the AWS platform. So like if you want to install OBS or some other tool on your instance, that's also something that you can do. But still, we will have you in there quick with just clicking a single button, either DCV or in the web browser. Start stopping is a simple, for example, start this instance here. You'll see it'll start going to pending. One of the other things that you might have noticed is I don't need to click refresh or keep jamming refresh till I finally see pending. We have a system that actively is aware of like, hey, we have a pending instance. Maybe we should check on that instance a little more often than the running one. So like a lot of our knowledge of running cloud productions for the last 5-ish years is resembled in here, making it easy, and ultimately also like built out of necessity, making our lives easier.
Yeah, and what I really like too, what's really exciting is with the self-hosted, you can adopt existing infrastructure in your account too. If you have a vMix machine, a vector machine, Carbonite code, whatever switcher you want, it's very simple to adopt it and have it show up in this interface. There's some settings that we have to tweak, and but not much. It's an easy process. So that's cool too. You don't have to start from scratch. You can manage multiple environments. If you already have multiple AWS environments, or if you're an independent producer and say you want to manage this for multiple clients that you have, you can do that from this dashboard with environments.
And that really is the thing. Like, we have all of the frustrations that we had over the last 5 years is built into this. Like, it's easy to use. We don't charge you per users, because then, let's be honest, you'll just start sharing passwords again, and all the security benefits will fly out of the window. It's vendor independent. So like, I'll be able to just click here, and within a couple seconds, I will be in a dashboard controlling a ROS switcher in the cloud. There we go. It's a
web browser if you want.
That's in a web browser. Now I can just cut around on my sources here and have a look at it all.
And
so
you have to be authenticated with our system in order
to
log in. That's
the other thing. Like, I tried to do like day in the life of a cloud engineer videos and all that in the past, but like, I always start the camera behind me, and then like 5 minutes in, I like go into a Google Sheet or a password manager in best case, where you go in and you're like, hey, okay, now I'm just copying the password we're using for every single instance over. Okay, now I can't do the video anymore. So like, one of the demos I love to do is like, I click refresh here, and NiceTCV will not let me in. It's a failed to communicate with server. The only way that I can get back in there is hitting that button again and being let in that way. That was really important for us, because like, password sharing is fine until you have any rotation in your workforce. And especially with cloud, which like, we really like how scalable it is. You can do a big show and a small show. You just don't want to mess with shared passwords that way. Here also is another example, Vizrt Vector. It's also there in your browser. I can also cut around there. It is all the same how you would want it. And if you need your multi-view, then you go to feeds, and you can see your multi-view that way. So we have all the integrations into the tools, but we're not like trying to build a next cloud switcher, because we think we can serve our market better by being the control provider, the overlay provider. We can help you do successful cloud productions, and we'll let building a switcher to the companies that have been doing so for years and years.
It's the missing piece. It's the missing piece that I've always wanted, because I wanted something tool agnostic, and I wanted something that controlled all the access and management, especially, I mean, in production, we're always using freelancers. We don't necessarily have a team of employees all the time. And so a solution that's built on, let's say, Active Directory is not ideal. It's a pain to set up. Nobody wants that infrastructure overhead. So you don't need to run any of that infrastructure, any of those additional resources with CLOUDflex. We host the front end, and we host the authentication system, which is built on, industry standards, tried and true technology. And
that's also like
that piece for you.
One of the things that within building we kept in mind is like, we don't want to charge you for every single person you add, because then it'll be less useful. So like, from our tech stack to our business model to like everything in this development is like built on the principles that we think cloud needs, and that we notice like other vendors just don't give us, where you just keep running into issues. And like, one of my favorite anecdotes is when we started cloud production, I don't know how often I heard, oh yeah, no, this is not supported in the cloud. And like, one of the favorite little issues we had to solve was way ago, when we wanted to run Zoom rooms, you had to install the wireless LAN drivers to get it to work. Not that you can actually use Wi-Fi in your AWS instance, But if it wasn't there, wasn't enabled on your server, you could just not get it to work. So yeah, we put a lot of work into this. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to, when building this, we were always keeping the customers in mind. So as Jonas and I were going through the details of how we're going to do it and what features are going to be in here, we're like, well, this would be perfect for this person. We're thinking of our existing clients and operators and building the tools that we think that they would want. So it was definitely operator first. Like, let's make this as easy as we can to share a pass, to share access, and get an operator onboarded in your system.
And that's also the thing, right? Like, we both know that there's like a lot of unicorns in our industry that can like manage AWS, be a TD, be a A1, be great with talent, and like knows how to handle clients. But that is not something that is scalable as soon as you need multiple people. So like what we try to use is, how can we give someone that's a great TD, a great A1, a great producer, this should not be harder than pressing, like starting up your computer. And like, I believe it isn't. Like, you say, hey, let's start this, and then you log in. And that really was the goal, making sure that we don't add more, like, you need to log into here, then you need to start this. Like, even just remembering all the instances you need to start, what order you need to start them in, dependencies, all of that is handled in here. And show that here on the homepage, where you see your studios, you see your feeds. This will show you, if you click that, it brings you over to the feed manager. You can click your multi-views there. But also, like, starting all your instances as simple as hitting start. Now, in the background, it resolves those dependencies, makes sure, like, for example, the typical, oh, I started NDI discovery server and my other instances at the same time. Now I need to restart them. How often has that happened to you? Like, that is happened way too many times. So like, this is what solves that.
Yeah. Oops, I stopped the wrong instance. You definitely don't want that to happen. I see we got a good handful of people in the chat. This is exciting.
And that's a good amount of questions. Let's I think we can get started answering some questions.
George in Washington, DC. Thanks for watching, George. Jesse Madison says this is a great idea. But here's one of the questions that stood out to me right away. Will the system also launch DCV on Macs? I see you're currently running Windows. Yeah, it'll run on any platform that DCV is currently supported on, Mac, Windows, Linux.
There might be a little bit of I think that Mac sometimes handles the protocols a little different, but yeah, no, it works like
any platform you can currently run the DCV client on will run the native DCV client via CloudFlex. We just launch it through the operating system's protocol handler. So that one click, as long as all the OSs have a protocol handler, so it'll launch it and open it directly in the DCV client. There will be some requirements to you will need a recent version of the DCV server to ensure compatibility, but that's an easy upgrade on the AWS side. So yeah, it's very compatible, and you can always run in a web browser too. The DCV client, the native client, is more performant. You get better hardware acceleration and multiple monitors, but there's so many times where I jump in and I just use the web client because I need to do something quick or change something. It makes it really super convenient. And now I don't have to wrangle DCV files or passwords or any of that stuff. All right, if we, let's see, let's take another question. Will this all be bring your own license, or how will you help customers buy or burst license count? Yes, the bring your own license will be supported for sure. Through the self-managed option, you'll be able to do that. In the managed option, there's two ways we can go about it. We could deploy something for you if you want to go with the managed route, or we will probably have certain licenses available for rent. We don't know how many or what yet, but there will be ways.
And that is really something where, like, we also want to help vendors, right? Like, we often know that it's hard for vendors to, like, offer the granularity that you want with cloud. And I feel like that we're here to help you be better, like achieve a better cloud production. So that is one thing. But also like making sure that managing all of that is easier. So like, well, we can't say, hey, we're going to have all of these licenses right now. One of our goals is to make that whole process simpler through our industry connections, helping with your vMix, Vector, Carbonite licenses. Some of them already have a subscription model, some don't. So that's where we really see this going.
Right. Yeah. And if you needed say a vMix license for a day, we could do that. We could make that happen through this. So many darn boxes checked. Exactly, George. That's what we were going for. We made the tool that we wanted all along. And I think that a lot of you out there are really going to like it too.
And one thing to also keep in mind is like, this is Lang and I were not just like creating the tool, or we as a group are not only creating the tool, we're giving it to you and you will say, well, you're on your own. Like, we're here to help you as well. You can, through the relationship that we'll build through that, like be like, hey, I need help with this event, maybe. And like, that's one of the beauties that we have with this in multiple environments. Maybe you have your own environment that like does your 3 daily shows, but then you have your once a year big event where you're like, I need engineering support, I need a TD, I need a couple more instances. It's too much. I want to not manage that. Sure, we can switch add another managed environment to your account and just as easily bring your people in, help you manage that. We have, with Jesse, we have all of the labor that you might need. So yeah, we really are here to help you with these kind of things.
Well, and I should mention, we mentioned environments, which is a quick way to say multiple accounts, AWS accounts, but we also have region support now too. So you can use this interface to handle multiple regions, multiple AWS regions. So that's really powerful as well. So you can have one-click access to your infrastructure on any side, any part of the world effectively.
And what really is also important to mention is like, it's not, you can have multiple environments in the same region, like with different AWS accounts. Like, we really built this to be easy to use and not limit you by arbitrary things. Means this took way longer than I wanted, and I spent a lot of sleepless nights over making sure that all of that works. But you want 2 AWS accounts in the same region, have an environment? Sure, here you go. You bring your own environment and then also want to rent some instances from us. Sure, that is all no problem. And that works.
Good things take time. And there'll be more good things added to CloudFlex as we go along. But we wanted to show you the basics here to get started because we're really excited about it. How do control surfaces behave locally with the system? Stream decks, hardware panels. George, to answer that question, the answer is it depends. If it's a control surface that uses standard IP routing, like the Vizrt Vector control surface, it's just a matter of making sure that those ports are open into your AWS environment. Stream decks, it's kind of the same thing. Right, Jonas?
I would say that people that have known me for a longer time is how much I love making remote productions and cloud production work, even with hardware. So, I mean, just within reach, I have like Stream Decks anywhere. I can touch about 5 Stream Decks. So while we don't have an answer right now that makes that simpler, like you would still use a VPN and then you can use something like satellite or similar things like that, I would say go to our website and subscribe for the waiting list in the newsletter, because yes, this is definitely a thing that we also want to make easier, like onboarding your operators, control. And one thing, if we go back to my screen share, one thing I'll tease is,
I was going to say, you could still use companion, central control, and direct IP routing.
You don't see it enabled here, but there is an app already that is called controllers. So I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
We are really determined to make this seamless. There is an app here, but nothing to show just yet. Maybe at NAB if you're there, which we
And
also should talk about, Mike, right?
we
We're both
should.
going to be at NAB. We are going to
Mhm.
be part of the Purple Tally booth. Do you know the booth number off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, West Hall. I haven't committed it to memory.
3733, maybe?
3733. That's it. West Hall. The West Hall is the best hall this year. 3733, just down the road from Vizrt, and there's a lot of providers that moved over to the West Hall this year. A lot of vendors, so I'm excited for that.
I think it's fair to say West Hall, best hall.
West Hall's the best hall. Tucker will be there
And
too. Tucker
will be there.
I should say this whole webinar right now, Tucker is in at home directing all this from the cloud, but this is all running via CloudFlex and via our cloud resources. I assumed you guys would all assume that, but I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, AV trainer. I was getting excited about the question, but I wanted to say one more thing about NAB. We'll be in the West Hall 3733, the Purple Tally Productions booth. We'll have several demos scheduled throughout the week on Monday and Tuesday, I believe.
No, it's Sunday and Monday. So you can get your demo early, and you still have enough time to schedule meetings with us, because we're really excited to show this to you. But like, we also want to like get feedback. Like, this is very much something where we want to build a product that serves you and your productions well. So like, Lang is, we are all reachable over LinkedIn. We are all, if you know our emails, have us on Discord. Like, we are here to listen to your feedback and ultimately make your life easier. Like, that is really the goal with this. Now that we have this solid foundation there, it is great. It's Sunday at 2 p.m. is the first demo, and then Monday at 10 a.m. we're gonna have another demo. So if you are at NAB, come on. It's we'll have a lot of fun there. Jesse will be there. We both will be there. Tucker will be there, and
those demos are also, if you forget those times, if you have the NAB app or go to the NAB website, look for the Purple Tally Productions booth. Those demos are listed there as well, so you don't have to remember that.
And one last thing before we go to the question in one thing.
I know
it's not only that we are there and we're showing our things. There's also what I'm really excited about, taking off my CloudFlex hat and putting my other SpaceComms hat on. We will also have our SpaceComms IO remote intercom solution there on display with a new product from the Fiber guy. So it's really cool to see all of the things working together there. We'll have a great demo, and if you want to see how to make cloud production, remote production, and all of that work, it's going to be a great booth to be at.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited to see SpaceComms in action alongside this too. It's going to be fun. It's fun to get away from all the regular traditional hardware, I guess, where you can spin up this stuff in a couple of days and not break the bank. So let's see. We got another question from AV Trainer. Can this also be cloud agnostic, to control elements for clients who have different assets contained in different cloud services? The answer right now is yes. I was going to say we support AWS currently with this version.
What I'll say is Instance Manager right now is the only thing that is AWS specific. And only starting and stopping there is actually AWS specific. The rest of the tools will work anywhere you bring them, right? Like if you bring our Flow engine on site, if you bring it into Azure, Oracle, or whatever, that will just work. It might take a little more custom integration to make the communication from our backend servers to you work, but that all is no problem. For the Instance Manager, I think we're all aware that AWS isn't the only thing that is out there. There's going to be a multi-step process for us to add multi-vendor support there. If we go back to my screenshot, to my screen share.
If you're using NDI though, obviously you're not going to be able to do that across multiple cloud providers. So you would need to pick one and stay there. All of my experience is NDI in AWS. I haven't tried it in Azure, and I haven't tried it in Google Cloud. So that's why.
What I'll say is, like, there's a lot of things for us to do to get there, but like, for me, as someone who doesn't love front-end design, the hard thing of making it a toggle is already done in our environment. So we are acutely aware that that is a need. And we're excited to, when we have this product out there and used in AWS, also support different cloud providers, on-prem,
Right.
like your own cloud, all of that. But we also don't want to spread ourselves too thin. So it's on the roadmap. I think there's already a Trello item created for me there, but not yet.
I'll go open a ticket right now, a feature request.
Well, not yet, in the case that Feeds, Flow Manager, and Ad Manager all work right now wherever you deploy them. Instance Manager, that is very AWS specific right now to list those, but that's about it, as specific as it is. So it's really built with that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we want. It can simplify. I'm thinking about if you're adding other tools to, like, graphic systems, if the system is, say, if it's instance based, like Expression or whatever, it will natively within the CloudFlex platform for access and control. If it's a HTML5 solution with its own login and authentication page, like Flowix or Singular or I think H2R Graphics, that you'd still log in natively through their web browser. But if it can output a link, then you'd be able to get that in as an NDI source or a source into CloudFlex. Yeah, for now. There's a lot of things we want to do. Not gonna spill all the beans on upcoming features right now, but that's exciting too, is having some graphics integration, especially with some of the traditional graphic systems out there. You can just plug them in and go.
And Expression runs really great in AWS. It's
yeah, and
just works.
Yes, the Expression runs great. Trio runs great. It's just another instance. It's just another virtual machine.
Yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the chat, or like I said, we're here to make your life easier. So feel free to hit us up on LinkedIn or go to cloudflexbroadcast.com. That's a mouthful. And you can also schedule a demo there, or just send us a message and we can schedule something at NAB. It will all be there. And yes, this is software, but sometimes it's still great to see it in person.
That's right. And we'll have one more question from Gavin Roberts. Does it pull any native data from social sources? No, that we would leave up to the graphics tool. And I know why you're asking that question, but it's not really the core of CloudFlex. It's more about access management and controlling of resources. So we would leave that social integration up to the graphics tool itself.
Yeah.
With certain social media platforms, there's obviously costs associated with their developer API. But yeah, you'd be welcome to build your own integration and run your own graphics tool to do that. But right now it would be whatever's supported by whatever graphics platform you're using.
Yeah.
We have a wait list too for upcoming information, new features, and eventually access to CloudFlex. We could put that.
So do we want to answer the burning question that everyone has about what does pricing look like, and is it just contact us for pricing?
Is it just contact us for pricing? Sort of, but there is some information on the screen you can see here. This is our.
So, and what I'll say is right now we have pricing that we're targeting at around $500 for access to the platform. And now the first person is probably going to think, well, for my 2 instances, that doesn't make sense. And we are aware of that. And that is one of the things that we will be working on, and also want to talk to people like, how can we make sure that we have a solution that works for everyone, that isn't just a one size fits all. But we also didn't want to give you no pricing, because I know we all love when all you know is like, it's a thing, but you don't know how much it costs. And one of the things that is also really important to us is it's a monthly price. There's a base price for your instances, for the resting costs and all that, and then it's usage based. We don't, and it's a price that makes sense already usage based. It's not like you need to commit to 10K hours or something to get for a year to get a proper price. No, like, we understand cloud production is also a business model about using your OpEx and not tying up your capital right there at the start, committing to like huge contracts. So like, monthly is a thing that we really want to keep at, and also being able to charge your usage based is what we'll have. And if you want to learn more, we have our website, cloudflexbroadcast.com, and there's also a little demo video down here that you can watch. If you want to share it with a colleague and you think it might make sense, feel free to send them this website. We have a little 3-minute video here that goes over everything, and then down here is schedule and join the wait list. And if you join the wait list and just type in here that you want to schedule something at NAB, we will also be reaching out to you. Or
that's cloudflexbroadcast.com. And we know it's important too, especially with cloud production. We want to keep it as a pay-as-you-go model as much as we can. So there will be a base platform cost, of course. There have, to cover the cost of our development and new features and stuff like that. But if you're not using instances, if you have instances deployed, there's a small fee for the storage. If you get rid of them, then you're not charged extra for that. So you're really just paying for what you use when you use it.
Yeah. Any final closing words?
Do I have any final closing words? I'm really excited to show this again at NAB. I think a lot of people are going to like it, and a lot of people are going to find it to be a good solution out there for cloud production.
Yeah, looking forward showing it off more and talking about it more at NAB West Hall 3733.
Remember it. If you stop by, come say hello. Tucker will be there as well, and the fine folks at Purple Tally Productions and the Fiber Guy. We're gonna have a whole happy cloud production group there, and we love to talk tech. So just come talk tech with us. It'll be fun. Well, I'm really excited about this. Thanks for showing it off today, Jonas. Thanks for showing us the tour of CloudFlex, and come see us in a couple weeks in NAB. If you can't make it to NAB, jump on the wait list to get the latest updates for CloudFlex, or hit us up on LinkedIn. Send us a DM, leave us a comment. Any of the social channels you want. We are always paying attention to that, and we'd love to hear your feedback, because we want to make this something that the community likes and the community wants. So, all right, thanks again for watching, and look for updates from us in the future.